Well, I'm glad I decided to bring this channel back because now we get to talk about the Halloween game. How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is my horror news channel where I talk about anything that appeals to me in the world of horror. I usually upload on Fridays, but this was a big announcement that justified a video right in the middle of the week because the new Halloween game was just announced. I don't really pat myself on the back too much, so I will take this opportunity. If you're a longtime watcher of the channel, you heard about this game here first, like 3 years ago or more. It was a long time ago that I first heard about this game, and everything that I heard back then ended up coming true. So if you want to stay up to date on everything and hear about stuff 3 years before it happened, subscribe to the channel and set your notifications to all. All right, let's get moving on this though, because there's a lot to cover. So this game has been a long time coming. We knew it was in the works because I'm pretty sure it was last Halloween. It was announced that 2 Halloween games were in the works. One was Retro Realms, the Ash vs. Evil Dead Halloween crossover side-scroller game, which honestly was pretty good if you didn't play it. And the other one was going to be built in Unreal Engine 5, and it's clear that that was this game. They didn't show the engine in the trailer, but I'm pretty sure this is the Unreal Engine 5 game. I have very complicated opinions on Unreal Engine 5 in the sense that I really don't like it because of the stuttering, the low frame rates, the graphical issues that plague Unreal Engine 5 games. But from everything I've heard, the latest version of Unreal Engine 5, 5.6, I'm pretty sure is what it is, actually fixes most of the issues with Unreal Engine 5, and the last few Unreal 5 games I've played, like Killing Floor 3, ran really good. They had no issues that I was used to seeing in Unreal games. So hopefully they're using that version for this. The interesting thing is this game is being developed by IllFonic, the people who made the original Friday the 13th game. And then they also made Predator Hunting Grounds. And I'm pretty sure they made the Killer Clowns from Outer Space game. They have like a mixed history, I would say. Like I liked Predator. I liked Friday the 13th. I did not play Killer Clowns, but like whenever you see them thrown into the mix, the people who are still mad about Friday the 13th getting its development canceled, they come out of the woodwork. And I understand being upset that that game got canceled, but it was far from IllFonic's fault. So like, yeah, that game was kind of buggy and it was pretty messy and it had graphical issues, but they've come a long way since that game. And from everything I saw in the trailer, it looks like they're heading in the right direction in a lot of ways. Gun Media is also involved in this game. It looks like they're producing. I like Gun Media. I think they did a great job with Friday the 13th, and I only put a little bit of time into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. Like I never really get deep enough into these games where I'm worrying about the meta game or like, you know, when people find exploits or just instant win cheats for finishing a game a lot quicker than it should be finished. I never played either of those games long enough for it to be my main game that I go back to every day. So like I never experienced the whole update saga with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I understand that people were upset with them for adding in a lot of paid cosmetic packs that don't really change all that much. And like some of the patches didn't live up to fan expectations and they came out a little too slow. Overall, I just got to be real. These horror asymmetrical games, they just don't do a lot for me. They're all very similar at their core. They get support for like 2 years, then they lose their player base and then they move on to the next game. Even though this is Halloween and I'd assume it'll have a little bit longer of a tail than the other games I already mentioned, I don't think this is going to be taking down Dead by Daylight or anything like that. But the big killer sort of twist on this entire arrangement is that it also has a single player mode. They prominently feature it right in the trailer, saying a single player and multiplayer game. We're going back to the Xbox 360 days where with your 6 or 7 hour shooter campaign, you also get a multiplayer mode that's a lot of fun to engage with for a couple of months before you fall off of it. I'm so glad this trend is coming back. It started last year with Space Marine 2, where the multiplayer is PvE. It's awesome. It reminds me of Left 4 Dead. Then they had a competitive mode, which was completely broken and a ton of fun. But like I played it for a few hours, unlocked everything I could, and then moved on, and I felt like my purchase was justified. I know it's kind of like a PSYOP thing, but just including a single player component in any way goes a long way, because when the servers inevitably shut off, because for some reason the horror licensing world means you can shut off the servers for your game, whether we're talking about Friday the 13th or Evil Dead the game, they could just move on, pull the game from sale and call it a day. As long as there's a single player component, they'll have the ability to continue to sell it in perpetuity. So that's why it's super important and super good that they're including that single player element. So as for how this game is going to play, I mean, have you played any of the games I've already talked about? You're going to have a core group of survivors that are basically playing in stealth mode, trying probably to get from point A to point B and escape the map. And then you're going to have one person playing as Michael Myers who will have some shapely abilities. Like I'm sure he'll be able to teleport because, you know, he walks, but he always manages to catch up with you. He'll have the butcher's knife. Maybe they'll pull in other weapons from throughout the Halloween mythology. I mean, the sky really is the limit. And the cool thing is this is not being rushed, thrown together in a couple of months. This has been in the works for a very long time. And everything I've heard leads to it probably being at least a fun game for a few months. I hope it just lives up to Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But you guys know, I'm obsessed with the world of the first Halloween. I think it looks incredible. I love that small town feel. It reminds me of where I live right here in Michigan, right outside Detroit. I mean, they nailed that vibe, right? Like they got the blue lighting, which I love. They've got the jack-o'-lanterns with the flickering lights. There's Halloween decorations everywhere. I really like that the clothes in the game are all 70s style. I'm assuming that that's what Gun Media's input was on the game because they were like weirdly obsessed with getting the clothes right in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Maybe they were even able to reuse some of the assets from that game because, you know, Halloween takes place in 1978. It also stood out to me that the trailer is narrated by none other than Dr. Loomis himself, my all-time second favorite character in Halloween after Michael Myers, of course. You know, they're tied. They're tied for first favorite characters. They're just awesome. You can't have a Halloween game without Dr. Loomis. I think it's fine, like the voice. It sounds like Dr. Loomis. You're never going to match it 100%, and I'd rather them use a voice actor than AI generate it. And I can tell they used a voice actor instead of AI generating it. I think it'd be awesome if he filled the role of Tommy Jarvis in the Friday the 13th game. Once you fulfill a certain amount of objectives on the map, you can spawn in as Dr. Loomis with the revolver and pack Michael full of 6 shots of lead, you know, just like the movie. I am really curious though how many Halloween movies they can cover in this. Like, does this only pull in the first movie and the original Michael Myers? Are they able to pull in Halloween 2, Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, Halloween 4, not Halloween 5 or Resurrection, H2O? Like, there's a lot of different Michael Myers, but unfortunately the rights are all split up and I don't know how that influences the game development. But even if they just start with the original Halloween and then maybe do a sequel where they can bring in other characters, if this sells well, this could become a franchise that runs alongside the movies, and I think that would be pretty damn cool. I forget if I mentioned this, but the game's coming out in 2026, so I would guess probably around Halloween. Like, if they're smart, they'll release it in September or October, but we've seen Halloween movies come out in July. I think they've come out in August. Like, they play it fast and loose, so it could come out earlier or later in the year. But yeah, I kind of saved the best part for last, Michael's look. So the mask itself that he's wearing looks flawless. Like, I have no notes on the mask. I know there's some people who over scrutinize this stuff and they're going to be like, his eye needs to be moved 0.5 inches higher or whatever. I don't look at it at that level. Like, it's a white mask that emulates the shape of the Shapes mask in the original Halloween. It looks great. The coveralls look awesome. The boots look awesome. They got the vibe of Michael Myers right. I heard the mask breathing. I am satisfied with that. My one gripe is that this is a very stylized game. Like, unlike Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that was very realistic. Like, they went for that gritty sort of realistic tone. This is a stylized look. So, like, you know, the characters have bigger heads. Their proportions are more defined. I'm not talking about boobs or butt. I'm talking about, like, you know, their arms cut in and then flare out a little bit. Same with their legs. So Michael himself is also a little stylized, like his head is a little bit bigger on his body. I think that's fine. I don't need it to look super realistic. I want to see gameplay, right? Like, it's still a year out. They've got to do the whole hype cycle. They got to build us up and get us ready for it. But what we've seen so far is looking very encouraging. I mean, Michael Myers has shown up multiple times in games in my lifetime, and, you know, some were good, some were bad. Retro Realms, definitely good. You're like a hero character as Michael Myers going through the Evil Dead world, which is awesome. And then the other times, not so great. Like Dead by Daylight, they use the Halloween Resurrection Michael and he looks terrible and like doesn't play all that well. And then you've got Call of Duty Ghosts. Bet you guys didn't think I was going to pull that one out. Yes, on one of the maps in Call of Duty Ghosts, one of the kill streaks was getting to spawn as Michael Myers, but it's very obvious that they wanted to use Jason because the map is like a summer camp with a cabin and you use an axe. You know, Michael Myers, as far as I'm aware, has never really used an axe outside of a Halligan tool in Halloween Kills. I'm sure he's used an axe in one of the other movies, but like, it's not an iconic Michael Myers weapon that you would want him to have when you spawn in as a kill streak. He's also shown up in Fortnite, which is like the only Fortnite skin I bought after Ash from Evil Dead. And he showed up in Call of Duty last year, which honestly, as far as like game skins go, gotta give Call of Duty credit. I hate that the military shooter has been influenced by like Nicki Minaj and Michael Myers, but like they did a really good job on the skin for Michael Myers. So I can't honestly hate on them too much. If you're also a Deck Ready viewer, hello, this is my horror channel. I don't think this game's gonna run all that well on the Steam Deck if it is Unreal Engine 5. You all know, I talk about Unreal 5 all the time there. It's kind of hard for me to split my brain between the movie channel and the game channel. Like, do you guys care to hear about Unreal Engine 5 and how big of a problem it is? I don't know. That just really worries me that they're using that engine because the maps might be a little bit more open. And the biggest problem with the stuttering in Unreal Engine 5 is when you're moving between these like map tiles. So like if you played the Silent Hill 2 remake, when you're going through the town of Silent Hill, you'll see these like 1 FPS stutters that like stop the game for a second. That is like the problem with Unreal Engine 5 that needs to be addressed. So again, as I said earlier in the video, if they can fix that, I'm going to be really excited. If they can't, I'm just going to do my best to ignore it. Really, that's where I'm at, because there's no way in hell I'm not playing a Halloween game, guys. Like it's like I was made to play this game. This game was made to be played by me. Oh, and I like how this said it's a Malek Akkad production, but also importantly, it's executive produced by John Carpenter. I mean, that's cool to get him on board. You know, he loves collecting a check, so who knows how ingrained he is in the development of this game. But if you didn't know, John Carpenter's a huge gamer. He plays Horizon, he plays Fallout 76. I feel like they got to at least let him test it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to let the gamer test your game out if he's putting his name on it. So hopefully he actually has some input on the series. But like, what? That was 45 years ago. I'm sure he's so sick of remembering 45 years ago. He's like, I could walk, man. I could go outside. I didn't have to just sit in a chair. I wasn't old. So yeah, that about covers it for the Halloween game. I was already working on a video about everything coming in the Halloween universe. So that's a teaser for Friday's video. But yeah, whether you're new here, you've been here for a while, subscribe, set your notifications to all. As always, guys, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and shape on.